Hi, this is Miss Ellis again. This time we're going to work on a unit on decimals, on multiplying, dividing, adding, subtracting. Again, a reminder, this is not to give you a full lesson, it's just a quick reminder or review of how to do. First, we're going to look at adding and subtracting decimals. First, we're going to line up the decimals. When you're add and subtract, that's the key thing. You're going with multiplying and dividing, it's a little bit different. But here we're going to look at adding and subtracting. So here's the three rules. Line up the decimals, then add or subtract. Bring the decimals straight down. So in the case we have adding or subtracting, so we're going to add 2 and 487 thousandths plus 3 and 1/10. So we're going to take this number and we're going to add it with this number. First we're going to bring this number straight down to here. Then we're going to come down and we're going to add 3 and 1/10. Now notice I did not line up these right sides over here. I lined up the decimals. Alright, now right in here I have some empty spots. So it would be a good idea if I came back and added some zeros. 7 plus 0 is 7, 8 plus 0 is 8, 4 plus 1 is 5, 2 plus 3 is 5. So I simply added the numbers. Now I'm going to bring these decimals straight down to here. And I'm done. This is my final answer. If you need an answer into two decimal places, you simply look at this third decimal and you ask yourself, is it 5 or higher? It is, so we're going to make this next number, the second number here, go up to 9. So if you needed two decimal, like in money, your final answer would be 5 and 59 hundredths. In the case of subtraction, we do the same thing. We simply rewrite our first number, and then we're going to take our second number and line it up with the decimals, not the right-hand side. And again, I have an empty spot, so again, I will fill that with a 0. Now notice in this case, we have a problem here. We have to follow the integer rules of positive and negative. We're going to take the difference. So we are going to subtract, but in this case, we're going to need to rewrite this to where the larger absolute value is actually on top. Then we can subtract. Don't forget to regroup. And because we're following the integer rules, the absolute value, the larger absolute value is the number that starts with 5. And it has a sign of negative, so our answer is negative. When you look at common sense, if you owe $5.92 and you've paid $2.84, of course you're going to still owe in the end. So yes, our answer would be negative. If we were to round this to two decimal places, our final answer would be we would owe $3.08. Next, we're going to look at multiplying decimals. Now, in this case, we don't line them up along the decimals. It's a mistake a lot of students make. Don't do it. You still could get the right result in the end, but you've done a lot more work, and you've also given your chance to make a lot more mistakes, so don't do it. With multiplying decimals, we're going to line them up on the right-hand side. We're going to ignore the decimals and just simply multiply the digits. Then at the end, we're going to count the number of places that are behind decimals and put the same number in the answer. So let's look at this. Here we have 52 and 79 hundredths times 4 and 3/10. Again, I'm going to bring down the first number, which is 52 and 79 hundredths. And now I'm going to line up the second number. Now before we lined them up with the decimals, that's no longer the case. We're now multiplying digits, so we're going to line them up on this right-hand side. So I'm going to put the 3 right here and the 4 right here, and I'll mark my decimal. Now while I actually do the math, the computation, I'm going to ignore the decimals. I'm simply going to multiply 5,279 times 43. I look at the ones placed first, the 3, so let's work this out. I lost my place one moment. 4 times 9 is 36. Bring the 3. 7 times 4 is 28. Okay, it was a 2. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 more is 10. 21. Alright, now I go back and I count. I have 1, 2, 3 numbers behind digits. Behind decimals, excuse me. 2 here, 1 there. So 1, 2, 3. When I come down to the answer, I'm going to count again. 1, 2, 3. So my decimal will go right here so that there are 3 numbers behind it. And this is the final decimal place. Again, if I was to round this to a money type figure or anything with 2 decimal places, I would look at the third number, which is in this case is 7. It's 5 or higher, so it would bring this up. To bring this particular number up, you would have to look at 99 as a whole unit instead of just 9. So 99 plus 1 more would be 100. So these two would become zeros, while this became 1 higher. So 599 would become 600 when you carry this over. So your final answer would be $226 if you were rounding that to 2 decimal places. If you weren't, you would simply keep the original number, the 225 and 997 thousandths. Now we're going to look at dividing decimals. Here we have a whole other ball game. The other rules do no longer apply. Here we have 2 situations we have to look at. It'll depend on whether the divisor, or if you're looking at a fraction of Tybo, the denominator, is that number an integer or not. Alright, in this case right here, the divisor, the 4 here, is an integer. All we have to do is bring the decimal straight up and then divide as normal. So we're going to do that. We're going to bring the divisor straight up. 4 goes into 8 2 times, which is 8. We bring down the 2. 4 cannot go into 2, so we have to add a 0. Notice it's behind the decimal. Okay, and we bring the next number down, which is a 0, and 4 goes into 25 times. So in this particular answer, our number is 2 5/100. Let's look at what happens if the divisor is not an integer. It means you'll have to turn it into 1. But the thing to remember, what you do to one side, you must do to the other. Always will ever be the rule in math. So, in this case, to get the 4 to an integer, we're going to have to multiply it by 100. In doing so, it means you're going to be moving the decimal 2 places. So times 10 times 100. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So we're going to multiply this times 10 times 100. Times 10 times 100. So now the decimal's there. Times 10 times 100. So now the decimal's here, and we'll make it straight up. So now we're basically dividing 820 by 4. So 4 again goes into 8 2 times. There's nothing to bring down. You bring down the 2. 4 cannot go into 2, so we add a 0. We bring down the last number, and 4 goes into 20 5 times. And it leaves a 0 remainder, so we're done. So our final answer is 205. If you have any questions, ask me in class or ask your math teacher. Thank you.